Hello guys, I want to talk about mutations. In the previous section we talked about queries. We've seen how to call get all to-dos, get one to-do, we used filtering, pagination, sorting. And in the application you often want to display some data, which is good. We can use queries for such case. But when you want to update some data, create data, or delete, you need to use mutation. So as the name suggests, you want to mutate, you want to change something, and that's why we use mutations. Let's start by creating new to-do. So the first step, I will delete to-dos DB. Also, I will delete migrations. And in the application DB context, I will comment on model creating. So I want to create one to-do and then I want to list all to-dos. For queries, we used query.cs. For mutations, we will use mutation.cs like this. And let's go to the program CS and register our mutation. So add mutation type mutation. Let's go back to the mutation, and the first step is to create input. So we need to tell GraphQL what shape of data we want to receive. So public record and use add to do input. We will use name and string status because it's how we define to do entity. Also, we will define what kind of the data we will return. So add to do payload, to do, and just public to do, and get is equal to do, like this. Let's import to do and use semicolon. So this is how we will define input and payload. So this is request and this is response data. Now let's go to the mutation. The mutation is quite simple. So let's use async version, public async, task, add to do payload, add to do async is fine, add to the input, we want to use this, and the second parameter is db context. So let's first create new to do. Okay, like this, and the name we can omit id. It's automatically assigned by entity framework. So db context, to-dos, add new to-do, and await db context save async changes, and return new add to-do payload and new to-do. So we will return the newly created to-do. Let's try it. So I will run the application. We should also run the migrations because I deleted the database data. So I will go to GraphQL YouTube and use .NET EF migrations at initial. The second step is to use update. So you should see todos.db in your folder. Now we can run the application again and use the mutation. Before we used query, now it's mutation. Let's say to do and add to do. You can see the autocomplete input, and in the input we will use name, which is, let's say, walk a dog, and status, for example, in progress, and what we want back, let's say ID, name, and status. We want everything back. Let's use run. You can see it works, and also I can verify it by fetching all data. So we have query to-dos. Let's run it, and we should receive one to-do, which is fine. ID 1, name Volga dog, and status in progress. So it works. Now we can move on to update. You can create new to-do, but when you make a mistake, for example, you want to change a name, you can't. You need to create a new one, which is not a good application. Also, you want to move the to-do to another state, for example, from in progress to done, and so on. So also you need update. For the update, we will create also the input. So public record update to the input. For our case, we need just ID and status. We allow only updating the status. Public class update to do payload. Let's say to do bool updated, because we don't know if we really can return to do, because if user sent invalid ID, we can't return anything, so it can be null. And public to do get is equal to do, and public bool success get, which is updated like this. And now let's create the resolver. Public async task update to do payload, update to do async, update to do input, and application context is the same. So let's use application context. First, let's look for the to do by the ID. So let's use find async input ID. Also affected rows at the beginning it's 0, and return new update to do payload, which is to do, and affected rows is in our case 1. So we will get from the update affected rows. If it's 1, we will get updated true. If it's 0, we will get updated false. So if to do is not null, to do status, input status, and affected rows FADB context save changes async. Let's run it. We can copy add to do and change it to update, and let's say status is done, update to do, name is not in the record, so we will use only ID, which is 1. Let's run it. Now it's working, and let's go back to do fetch, and you should see it's Volgdog, name is Volgdog, status is done. The last part of our CRUD is delete. So let's implement delete. Delete is the easiest one because it accepts only ID. Public record delete input, delete to do input, ID, public class delete to do payload, bool deleted, and public bool success deleted. Now let's go to the resolvers, public async task delete to do payload async, and let's say delete to do async. Let's use input, and first let's look for the to do by ID. Affected rows is 0, and it's almost the same like update, but we will change only one line. So db context to do's remove to do. This is the difference, and now affected rows array db context save changes, and last row is return new delete to the payload affected rows is 1. So let's test it. After deleting the to do, we should fetch to do's and receive 0, so empty list. Let's copy update and rename it to delete to do and delete status. Also we accept only success and run it. It's deleted. Now let's fetch all to do's and it's empty. Also in the update we can use success. Let's create new to do and go to the update, and you can use success. So now it's ID2. I will change it. So success true. If you call it again, you have success false because we change nothing. So it's success false. Also, if you want to delete it, now we need to use ID2, which is fine. Return, and it's empty. Okay, that's all, and see you in the next video.